Dan from SampleLibraryReview.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Hurdy Gurdy Wheel Fiddle by Insanity Samples. Insanity Samples is promising this to be the most complete and fully featured hurdy-gurdy sample instrument on the market, delivering true-to-life gurdy performance techniques straight to your DAW. Now, if you're not familiar here, the hurdy-gurdy is a stringed instrument originated in medieval Europe around the 10th century. It evolved from early bowed lyres into a mechanical instrument played by turning a crank. It gained popularity in the Renaissance and Baroque periods as both a folk instrument as well as a courtly novelty. Now, that being said, I'm a huge nerd for world music instruments, and especially those instruments that transcend time. Can't wait to check out what they've done with the library. The Gurdy downloads is 6 GB on disk. It's got fully chromatic drone string functionality, 3 core mic signals with a large condenser, pencil mics, and dynamic mic. Up to 8 round robins, performance dynamics with 4 phrases, including a buzzing bridge top end, aftertouch functionality, and fully adaptive overlay threshold functionality. The library does require the full version of Contact 5 or higher, and normally sells for $124. It's on special intro price, $63, and I'll include a link over to Insanity Samples in the description. First play here, you can see you've got the ability to turn on and off each string, which is going to give us a lot of options. In order to start playing the instrument, you actually have to turn the crank on, and that's achieved by the C here. Then up in the yellow keys, you're able to play your melody lines as long as you have that C down. You can actually get different sounds out of the instrument just with turning these strings on and off. Create a very simple demo, but what I loved about the instrument right away is just using one instance of the Gurdy, turning strings on and off, playing it, you get such a full sound. I did use another instance of the Gurdy to do a little bit of a simple percussion performance, as well as a little sub bass and kick, just to try to spice it up a little bit. I think this is going to be a great starting point for me for a project that I'm working on now with really Northern European influences fused with EDM kind of things. I think users are going to get tons of use out of this, especially if they're doing any period music. So let's dive in and look a little more detail into the library itself. Now, this instrument's normally set and tuned to a specific key. I think it's in D with Ds and Gs. However, the way they've set it up, you've got the ability to completely change the tuning of every single string, which will make it incredibly versatile for digital composers. If you've got that Alt switch turned on there above your dynamic slider, which is controlled by the mod wheel, you also have the ability to add in what they call the dog buzz, which I believe is that top canter string resonating over a metal piece that's on the instrument. The library does give you some effects with some slides and glissandos. As well as a little range of percussion. Now there's 6 main articulations, but you're able to program your sustain articulations using the threshold overlay. This means when you can program in where you'd like those articulations to be triggered with velocity dependency. You've got static longs. Live vibrato. Stutter longs. Turns that are adaptive. As well as staccato and tremolos. Staccato and tremolos aren't very often used in the traditional playing of the instrument, just because of the nature of the way the instrument is set up, but you do have access to them. Now, I also had some MIDI from one of the developers' demos, so I was able to listen back, look at the programming, and see that once you get the basics down for performing the instrument, it's actually pretty easy to use to get the kind of sounds you'd want out of the hurdy-gurdy. Because this is Insanity Samples using their overlay performance system, velocity dependent, you do have the ability to set two different performance settings down in your bottom right hand side that you can flip back and forth between with a key switch as well. Taking a quick look, you can see we've got 3 independent microphone positions. As well as a pull down for a scale link. Final thoughts here on the library. I'm just loving this instrument. My biggest critique of the whole thing is, even though the developers thought pretty well about user flexibility, changing up your key switches, just right there, clicking on the interface and selecting new mapping, you're not able to move that initial mapping for that C1 where it actually triggers the crank. And because of that, I had a little trouble. I'm traveling right now. I've only got 2 octaves on my keyboard, meaning I can't play this in real time. I have to record in that C1 and then go back and overdub my actual melody lines on top of it. Now, that's just if you got a little keyboard or if you're traveling like I am. Once I'm back in my studio, all will be well. I'll have 2 hands and 66 or 88 keys, depending on what you're working in. So I think I've said enough about that critique. Overall, the authenticity of the sounds, the performance, the character, I just love. The ability to Go ahead and tune chromatically all of these drone strings any way you want. Make this so flexible, so variable, that it takes on a whole nother life, I think, for composers using it in their DAW. Of course, you're going to be able to get a lot of great stuff out of this if you're looking to do period pieces, if you're doing something for, like pirate ships or Shakespearean underscore. And for me personally, I think this instrument, the way that Insanity Samples has designed it, has given me a whole new love and appreciation for the actual physical instrument, the Hurdy Gurdy itself. I can't wait to play with it more. Now, I've shared a ton of my thoughts along the way, but I'd love to hear yours. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about the instrument. Have you been following Insanity Samples along, or are you just a Hurdy Gurdy nut like myself? If you haven't already, please like the video. Come back around on Fridays for our weekly DL Compressor show.